It's just like giving such cozy vibes. I don't think I will benefit from reading the end of this book. I don't think I will gain anything in my life. I don't think anything will make any more sense. And I just don't really care. Hi, my name is Angel. Welcome back to my channel. This is the fourth video that I am doing where I'm trying to read books off of my TBR. So I did highest rated, lowest rated, most popular. Now we are doing the least popular or the least number of ratings on Goodreads. So I have my Goodreads list pulled up here. Once again, I'll be choosing 2 from my Goodreads TBR and 1 from my physical TBR. So I'm gonna start screen recording and we're gonna see what the least popular book on my TBR is, and I'm really nervous for this. I think I'm nervous because I know that there are a lot of options on my physical TBR and I don't feel like reading a lot of them. So let's just go ahead and get into it. My Goodreads TBR, here we are. We're gonna sort number of ratings from the lowest. Okay, these books are not out yet, so they don't have any ratings. Let's get to one. I think this book is out. No way. This only has 9 ratings? I'm really shocked. I added this to my TBR because it came up like in a list of new releases, but then I clicked on it. It says it was published in 2022. Oh, independently published in 2022. So maybe it's going to be re-released with a different publisher. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so that's good. But I had no idea that it had 9 ratings. I thought more people had read this. This is a thriller. 1895, Butterville, Louisiana. An 11-year-old boy sees something he never should have seen. Oh, it's a dual timeline. It says fast forward 80 years to the 1970s Louisiana. Mrs. Devereux is a wealthy old widow who has done an outstanding job keeping the details of that event from so long ago deeply buried. That is, until nosy newspaper editor Marvin Descant comes along. He seeks to uncover the truth about what happened with that little boy almost a century ago. He does it under the guise of working on a feature story to celebrate the town's history for its annual Founders Day festival. The only problem is that no one will talk to him except one person, a woman named Sarah Ann. But can she be trusted? Interesting. Oh, it says it was formerly published as Louisiana Locomotive. Okay, well let me go over to Kindle Unlimited and get this now because I'm scared that it might go away. Okay, Dear Aunt Addie. Wow, I'm really shocked. And the second book, let me find one that's out because again, most of these are not published yet. Okay, and the next one that is published is Rainbow Filth by Tim Meyer, which has 66 ratings. It doesn't really have a description. It just says, Rainbow Filth is a weirdo horror novella about a small cult that believes a rare psychedelic substance can physically transport them to another universe. This has been on my TBR for a long time. Even before it was published, it's been on my TBR for a really, really long time. So I'm curious. I really like the cover, and I think that's most of the reason why I added it. And also just like, I don't know, it gives me like vibes that it's going to take place in like the 60s with like the psychedelics and the rainbows and everything. So those are our 2 books from my Goodreads TBR. We're going to go over to my physical TBR and we're going to see that one. So, okay. This one I actually kind of was expecting actually both of these down here. But the one we will be reading for this video is Grove Hollow Metamorphosis with 180 ratings. This one recently came out and I saw it on Instagram and I thought the cover was absolutely gorgeous. And I put it on my Amazon wishlist and somebody ended up purchasing it for me. So that was really nice. I don't know. I think it's a paranormal romance and I think it might be part of a series or an upcoming series. But I don't really know too much other than that. It says it's gothic, fantasy, romance, young adult, historical fiction, and paranormal. So, but it's a gorgeous cover. Can we all appreciate that? Alrighty, well those are the 3 books that I will be reading in this video. So I guess keep watching if you want to see that, obviously. Hi. Let's sit and chat for a second because I know in video, like you guys, it's 1 second from the next from when I filmed the intro to now. But for me, it's been months because I filmed that intro so long ago. I wanted it to be a series where I read the highest rated, the lowest rated, the most popular, and the least popular books on my TBR to lessen my TBR. So I filmed the 3 others, and then I don't know what happened. I think I just got burnt out on like reading things for videos rather than like on my own. So I just kept pushing that last one off until now, until the present day. We're here, we're doing it, and I'm sad to say that it's not off to a very good start. I decided to pick up Dear Aunt Addie by Erilyn Adams for really no reason. It was on Kindle Unlimited, so I already had it like on my Kindle, so I just started it. Which, side note, this book, I started it yesterday. It had a different cover. I was reading it yesterday, I was reading it today. I literally put my Kindle down for like 2 minutes and locked the screen and then picked it back up, and it had a different cover. So I don't know what's going on with that. That was weird. They just decided to change the cover while I was reading it, which I thought was kind of funny. Anyway, I'm 66% of the way through this book, and I am DNFing it. So let's chat about it for a second. What do I even say? This is like a historical thriller, and it's very freaking confusing and like difficult to decipher anything that's going on. This book, like I said, I started it last night, and it feels like if you walk into a room and like 2 people or like a group of people are having a conversation and you want to be involved. So you like go up to them and you're like trying to follow along the conversation. You're like laughing when they laugh and trying to act like you know what's happening, but in reality you're really fucking lost. That's what this book feels like. I feel like the like author just like started writing this assuming that we all knew a bunch of other stuff that we don't, because we were never given the background. Like, it's so confusing. Like, I feel like I'm trying to follow along. It's kind of making more sense now that I'm so far into it, but like I still don't know what's going on. It's also a lot of freaking info dump. This is, like I said, a historical thriller, so we are learning a lot about this specific place in Louisiana and the history of it and the history of the family that like owns this property and all the people that have lived there and the strange things that have happened in their family. But it's like so much, like it's literally like it's so hard to keep track of any of the people. Like you will just get like a freaking page long explanation that's like, this person was this person's grandmother, but also was this person's daughter, and then they had this baby, and then they died because of this, and then this person got married to this person, and then they had this baby. I'm like, who are any of these people, and why do I care about them? It's so freaking confusing. And then to add to it, like, I swear every single, like, character in here that we're getting info dumped about, their name starts with an R. So I'm like, there's too many people to keep track of. I'm sorry. And if you don't give me any other background, why am I going to care about these people, and why am I going to remember who is who? Like, I feel like we need a family tree graphic in this book somewhere, or I need to create a freaking family tree and draw it out in order to make sense of anything that's going on in this story. We also have different timelines. We have 2 different timelines, I think. We have 1975, where we have this reporter that goes to talk with this woman whose name, well, she has a different name, but she goes by Sugar, and he is trying to learn some like history. And then we have the present day timeline where it's Sugar's niece, I think, and she is talking to her grandmother and getting a story from her grandmother. It's so confusing. I'm really trying my best to explain this here. Basically, like, the whole mystery part of this story is that something happened in the late 1800s. This 11-year-old boy witnessed something that he wasn't supposed to see, and now the train that goes through the town runs in reverse. And then also in this family, like, all of the mothers die when their sons reach the age of 11. Aside from like the plot and stuff, there are also like weird grammatical things. Like, I don't even know how to explain this. Like, you know when you're talking, like you write a sentence and you're saying I, like I did this, you would capitalize the I, right? Well, in here, that's like not what's happening. But it's also, it's not like a stylistic choice where it's just like, oh, I choose to just use like lowercase i's. Because they sometimes the i's will be capitalized and will be like in the same sentence where it's like a capital I and then a lowercase I. And I'm like, what's going on here? It's really frustrating. So I'm gonna just share with you guys some highlights so you can understand like what the struggle is. This is a large sentence right here. It says, the truth that Sugar's great-great-great Uncle Eugene Prejean was the father of Abigail, Addison, and Adolphine, and also the brother of Sheriff Earl, and that Eugene's wife, Mrs. Devereux's own mother, Lydia Rose, was having a deep sexual relationship with Robert Robichaux. Who are any of those people? I don't know. It's just a poorly crafted story, and the way that it's written is not good, and it's like, it literally, like, it feels like I said the author knows stuff that she just like assumes that we know, but like we don't actually know, and it's like very obvious in the way that things are written, and it's like trying to like be all dark and like mysterious and weird. For example, the end of one chapter, it says, ever so gracious as a host, it was hard to believe in just 2 short months she would be dead. And then like later on they say something else similar to that. There's another end of the chapter that says, that's when Ranger's great uncle Earl did what he did. What did he do? Like, it's really there were so many instances in which it was like, oh, this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna happen, and that's why this person did this. And it's like so frustrating. Like, okay, I understand like ending a chapter on a cliffhanger, but like there's like a proper way to do that where it like adds a little bit of mystery and a little bit of suspense and makes you want to keep reading. But this was just frustrating me. Honestly, I don't have much more to say about this because I'm genuinely still quite confused about the plot. Like, I understand the basis of what is going on. There's talk of witches, this dark history, and this kid that witnessed something. Actually, maybe I don't know what's going on. It's been a quick read though, because it is short. It's like 260 pages, so I'm already like 180 pages in. So I know if I wanted to, I could sit down and force myself to finish this book, but I don't think that my opinion will change by the end of it. I don't think I will benefit from reading the end of this book. I don't think I will gain anything in my life. I don't think anything will make any more sense. And I just don't really care because none of the characters are like well crafted and well thought out to where like you actually feel connected to them, you feel pulled into the story, you care about what's going on. I think that this story could have been told in a different way to make it more intriguing, to bring you into the characters and their lives, but the way that this is written and executed is just so poorly, and it's very just like I said, a poorly crafted story to begin with. So I'm really sorry that this video is not off to a good start, but I just can't with this book anymore, so we're gonna move on. I will see you guys later. Petition for table of contents to appear back in books regularly. I don't know why they what point in our lives did we come to the decision that table of contents were no longer going to be a regular thing in books? This book has one, and I really appreciate it. I started reading Grove Hollow Metamorphosis. This right here is the definition of a cover ad, because I saw this on Instagram. I think I saw a promoted post, and I was like, I don't know what the heck this is, but this cover has me hooked. I need it. I put it on my wish list, and I got gifted this book, which I'm very thankful for. It says Appear, a Gothic paranormal romance, so that was really the only thing I knew going into it. I don't know if this is marketed as young adult, but I would put it in that category. Our main character is, I don't know, I think she's either turning 18 or she's just recently 18, because like she is 18 but she's still in school, so like she's not fully an adult just yet. Basically, when she was younger, her name is Jade. When she was younger, her parents died in a tragic accident, and she was sent to live with her grandfather, and her grandfather is the one that raised her and is basically her family. He passes away, and she learns that she has this great aunt that lives in Grove Hollow, New York. So she is kind of shipped off over there to live her life. So that's where we are now. Something I want to say about this book, like first and foremost, is I think that the setting and the atmosphere is done perfectly. Like the writing is so descriptive, and I really feel like I am in this setting, and it is giving very, very cozy vibes right now, and very, very like fall vibes. This is a book, I think, if you decide to pick this up and read it, depending on how it sounds to you, I would recommend reading this during fall time because it's giving such fall vibes right now. I think it's in October. It also takes place in the 80s. I think it's 1985. So that's kind of fun because there's a lot of like references to pop culture of the 80s. Like Jade really likes The Cure. Her friends are talking about David Bowie, and they go to this like video store and they get like Ghostbusters and The Exorcist on VHS, which is really, really fun. So we haven't gotten too far into like the central plot of the story. I believe this is why was I gonna say I believe this is a paranormal romance when I literally just read you guys that it says a paranormal romance. So she's like interested in this guy at her school, this like a rugby player. And he's like the big popular guy, and he's so attractive and so hot, and like, oh my god, what could he ever see in a girl like Jade? But then there's also like this ghost in her house. So curious to see that develop. We've only gotten little glimpses. Another thing, oh my god, I'm all over the place. But the setting, going back to that, she's in her great aunt's house, and it's like it's a very small town, and it's just like full of wealthy people. The school they go to is this very like preppy academy, and it's just these big like mansions that line the streets. So she is obviously in her aunt's house, which is called the Blythe House, and it's this old, it's kind of like falling apart and crumbling because they're running out of money, and they don't have the people and the resources to stay with the upkeep and like the maintenance of the house. So I think that's another really, really fun aspect because everybody in the town, obviously, like by appearances, it's like the creepy house, and then knowing that this kind of eccentric, crazy old woman lives there by herself, then she's like the witch of the town. So it's got a lot of really, really fun elements. I will say some of the dialogue seems a little like, I don't know what the word is, like maybe a little bit unnatural. It's just very like teen drama right now. The cheerleaders are like being mean to Jade, and then she's into the rugby player who is dating one of the cheerleaders. So it's like that kind of vibe so far. But I'm really excited for the paranormal aspect to pick up and the mystery aspect to pick up. I think we are just getting to that point now. I'm about 120 pages in. So it's going well. Like it's just kind of like refreshing because it's just so cozy and so simple, and you don't have to think about it too much. And I'm really enjoying it. And I live in Florida now, but I wish that I still lived somewhere where the air does get crisp during fall time, because that would make for the perfect atmosphere to read this book. I'm about 300 pages through Grove Hollow Metamorphosis now, and I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. Like, I am genuinely finding myself excited to sit down and read this book. But, like, let me be clear, okay? Is this a profound piece of literature? Is it very moving and emotional with exquisite writing? No. but it's so fun. And it's just like giving such cozy vibes. It's giving dark academia. It's giving like this nostalgic, like Halloween feel, if that makes sense. Our main character, her birthday is on Halloween, which I think is so freaking fun. Also, all the references, like I said, to the 80s, like punk, new wave, just alternative scene is so fun, and just the fall vibes and the setting of it all. And then we're learning all about a lot of history within this town. Let me back up a little bit. So we've gotten to like our ghost part. She has encountered this ghost named Will and has learned about him that he died 100 years ago in the late 1800s, and his whole entire family was actually murdered, and the person who did it was never caught. And Will, as a ghost, is explaining like the moment he like woke up after his death, he has not like he's completely lost his memory, but it's very hard for him to remember a lot of details about his life and different situations and who killed him and all of that. So the two of them are working together in order to solve this and figure out a way that they can help Will pass on to the afterlife. But obviously, Jade and Will are developing a very close friendship and a close relationship, and things are progressing, and maybe there's some romantic feelings involved. Jade is still involved with her little rugby player guy, popular guy, and there's been a lot of drama with that, and it's very interesting because like her friend group, they call themselves the Misfits. They are like the social outcasts into the whole punk scene at this very, very preppy academy. So her being in with that group, but then also being in with like the popular rugby player is like there's a lot of tension there. But it's just so fun. I don't know how to explain it. Like I feel like I'm reading somebody's diary. Like I don't know. It's just so fun to me and so cozy and just like a very comforting read that doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's still interesting within the plot. And I love all of the characters. I think it's so fun. I don't know if I mentioned this in my first update, but this is, first of all, this is debut, and it's the first book in a series. So that makes me very happy that like even after I finish this, there are still going to be opportunities in the future to come back to this world, maybe see some of the same characters. I don't know, because nothing's been announced, so I don't know if the series is actually going to be with these characters or if it's just going to take place in the same like area, which once again, like the atmosphere is so good. We're learning so much history about all of these big estates that are there and the families that own them and the creation of the town and what families were involved with what industries and the feuds and the ones that work together. And it's just so interesting and so fun. I am just very delighted and pleasantly surprised that I'm enjoying this so much, because on the surface it really doesn't seem like much. Like it's a YA paranormal romance with teenage drama, but just being in the world is so comforting. And I could have finished this tonight, but I've got about 90 pages left, and I'm just gonna wait and finish it tomorrow because I'm just enjoying being inside of this book. And safe to say, it's going well. I don't really have like real updates about like the story or the plot or anything. It's more like the vibes, and the vibes are high. Hello, ignore my post-shower hair, but I have just finished the book. I really enjoyed it, as I've already told you guys. I will say, like, the one thing that I would fault this book on, or the one thing that I feel like could be a little bit stronger, was the romance, like the romantic relationships. Obviously, there's two different love interests in here, but I feel like we didn't really get to see their connection and their feelings. Like, we got Jade telling us how she feels about these people, but I feel like we didn't really get to see a lot, like, within their interactions of them actually connecting and having chemistry, especially with Will, who is the ghost, who is, the whole idea is that like he is her twin flame, like they are twin flames, and that is how like Jade is the only one that's ever able to see Will or has ever been able to see Will, and they're supposed to have this really deep connection. And I feel like, you know, if that was the truth, like the chemistry I feel like would be jumping off the page if they truly have this deep connection and they are supposedly two halves of the same whole. Like, I feel like it would just be a little bit stronger, and I don't think we got to see that very strongly. Like I said, I feel like it's just Jade was telling us how she feels, and because we know that it's a romance, like we know that that's what we're supposed to root for. And I wish we just got a little bit more of like chemistry and a deeper connection really demonstrated through the two of them. I'm not sure what I want to rate it yet, because I feel like if we're going just off of like vibes and enjoyment level of this book, I would probably give it like a 4. But like I said, I think there are some weak points within the story and maybe a little bit in the writing as well. This is a debut, as I've mentioned. So I'm just not sure what I want to rate it, because I did enjoy it and I would recommend it. I would say if you're going to read this book, like now is the perfect time. Like September, October, November is the perfect time to read this book, especially if you live somewhere that really does experience that like classic fall weather where it's like crisp outside and the leaves are changing and, you know, just like all of the fall vibes. If you live somewhere that has all those vibes, I would definitely recommend picking this up now. It's on Kindle Unlimited, which is great. But once again, like if you take my recommendation on this book, like don't expect to be like whisked away by some profound story or very, what is the word I'm looking for? Like prestigious literature. Like that's not what this is, but it's fun and it's cozy and it gives you all of the good vibes. And it's really nice because I feel like it ends off in a good spot, but also leaves it open for the continuing series. So this is going to be a 4-book series. The second book has been announced, but I don't think it'll be coming out until next year. And I'm really excited because I'm definitely going to pick that up. And I'm just excited to be back in this world and with these characters. Like, it was just really, really fun. And it's really interesting, like, to read the book as well and to see all of the symbolism within the cover and how that comes alive and plays a part throughout the story. Also, while we're talking about it, each of the chapters starts with a cute little illustration of something that is relating to the events of that chapter, which is it's just fun, you know? It's just a fun time. And I'm really happy that I read this. Would recommend it. If you want a light, cozy, fall time read with 80s vibes, paranormal vibes, Halloween vibes, a little bit of fantasy, a little bit of mystery, a little bit of history, with a very rich atmosphere, this is a good one for you. I'm currently at the beach, so pardon this like weird angle. I started Rainbow Filth yesterday, and pretty much my entire goal for the day, that's my boyfriend, that's not a bird. Pretty much my entire goal for the day is just to finish this. It's only 99 pages and I'm like on page 26, so it's really not going to take long. Anyway, that's all. It's a lot of hours later. Clearly I'm home now and I'm clean. My tummy's hurting a little bit. But I managed to get, I think 58% of the way through Rainbow Filth. So I just wanted to stop and tell you guys like what the premise of the book is. I have like 30 minutes left in this. Basically we start off with this transcript of a police recording of like a interrogation. I don't think that's the word, but basically our main character is this guy named Adam, and he's talking to this detective because something has happened that we're not quite sure yet what. We're building up to that, but Adam was found with this blood all over him, and there is a group of people missing, and obviously the detectives are trying to pin the crime on him because he was there and covered with blood. and he insists that he's innocent. And he's like, listen, let me tell y'all a story. You're not gonna believe me, but this is the truth. And it's basically about this group of people that has found this very, very rare, like, mystical drug that they refer to as the rainbow filth. And basically, once you find this drug and ingest it in the proper way, it is supposed to open basically like a portal, like a door to a different dimension. So obviously these people were experimenting with it. Something happened once they were under the influence of this drug, and I'm assuming these people are now just stuck in an alternate dimension, but who really knows? So we're just listening to Adam tell his story pretty much to the detective and explain all of the events that happened from the very, very beginning to where they are now. And that's really it. It's interesting so far. I do like it. I'm curious to see where it's going to go. I think for obvious reasons, this is reminding me of the book Negative Space, because that deals with very similar things, like this group of people involved with this strange drug, and a lot of weird and dark things occurring. So we'll see where it goes. I'm excited for the reveal. I don't really have like a lot to say about it. I feel like because it's so short, and I think the premise is very like straightforward. So that's where I'm at. I'll see you guys when I finish this one. The cat is joining us for this update. I don't know where my Kindle is, but I finished the book. I guess we can just take a moment to appreciate the cover in color. It's so weird because I feel like I don't have a whole lot to say about this book, except that it was very, very ambiguous. Like, it ended so abruptly. There are a lot of things that never get fully explained. Like, we hear this guy's side of the story of the events leading up to where he's at currently, but there are clearly things, like other things that are still happening that don't ever get explained, and we're just kind of like, the reader is left to make what they want from it. But there's a lot of blanks that you are left having to fill in at the end, and I feel like it was quite an unsatisfying ending. But I do think this is just one of those weird, like, short, very quick read horror novellas that people could enjoy, because it's definitely like strange and it's gory. It's very interesting, like the concept of it and going through this portal into this alternate dimension, and then the mystery like surrounding what's there as the story is like slowly unfolding. Like, it was well told. The writing was fine. Like, I don't really have any big complaints except for how ambiguous and open-ended it is. Also, can we just talk about, this was 99 pages, not even a full 100 pages, and this was freaking $6. And I think the physical copy is $15. And I don't know if that's just me, but like, that seems a little bit excessive. Like, 99 page ebook for $6? Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I think maybe I'll give it 3 stars, 3.5 stars. I'm not entirely sure just yet, because honestly, I don't really have big feelings towards it. I will say, because I already compared it to Negative Space, and I can definitely see like the comparisons there, obviously, because it's kind of dealing with similar like plot, sort of, but not really, but like the idea of the drugs. I think this book definitely hit the mark more than Negative Space, because if you guys remember when I read that one, I think that was for my psychological horror video, I said that that story should have been a novella, but instead it was dried down to a 400-page book. And so Rainbow Filth, I think, got it right with doing a novella instead of a longer book, but still, I feel like a little bit more could have been added in there. So I think if we found a good median, like middle ground between the two of them, then that would be a good drug involved horror story. I don't know if you guys can tell. I told you all my stomach was feeling weird earlier, and then I was feeling really dizzy and just weird and like tired, and I feel like now that I'm sitting down like trying to talk, like that's definitely coming through. So I'm drinking my tea. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't really have a lot. Like I would recommend it, especially to people that are horror fans and like to read like novellas and like to read from like indie horror books from lesser known authors. Like definitely check it out and see what you think of it yourself, but it didn't do anything super crazy for me. So that brings us to the end of this video. So we had one that was okay, one that I really enjoyed, and then one that I DNF'd. So I feel like we really got a mix, and the only way to ever know if you're going to love something that is not super widely read is just to pick it up and read it. And that's why I enjoyed filming this, and I think this is definitely a video that I would film again in the future because there are a lot of books on my TBR that have like less than 1,000 ratings. So if you guys would be interested in seeing like me do this again, let me know. If I've put any of these books on your radar, let me know because we love that. That's the goal. And with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.